As you know, we've been following for some time, since we did shows in Ballarat, about the locals in and around that part of Victoria who hate the idea of power lines which are going to connect renewable energy projects right through and over that part of Victoria, basically linking back up to the people in Melbourne. The people in Melbourne who couldn't care less that these people's land is going to be changed and that the compensation that will be offered for it will not be for the wires over the top of their properties, just for the bits of the towers that actually touch the floor. We've told you about how the Victorian government has locked down these farmers' and residents' ability to be able to complain about this. So farmers decided to turn up in Canberra today. Shout out to my colleague Peter Credlin, who covered this beautifully on our show this evening. But among others, people have turned up and they had a meeting with David Littleproud today about exactly what's going to happen here, about why this is the wrong thing to be doing, about how, yet again, the demands of the big city are being paid for by people in regional areas who had no plan or bother or care to be turning up to Parliament today, but that's what they did to try to make their point, because the Victorian Parliament is a closed door to them. But what about this? When the question was asked about this very issue today, I'll get to Chris Bowen's response in a second, but members of that group were sitting there in question time. And given what we've been talking about for the past few days, who, when somebody of importance is sitting in the gallery, well, the media pays attention and the politicians are all reverential. But when it's people that the government doesn't care about, well, you get a response to a question like this.
My question is to the Minister for Climate Change and Energy. In the gallery today are Glendon Watts and Bill Boland and many other farmers from Mallee, who will be impacted by the government's fast-tracking 28,000 kilometres of poles and wires across regional Australia. How many more farmers like Glendon and Bill will be impacted from Labor's arrogant policy to steamroll local communities in pushing forward 28,000 kilometres of transmission lines?
And here's your old mate Chris Bowen not answering the question and giving the middle finger to the farmers who were there.
I met with those mayors in the impacted area. They made clear to me their support for the project. In fact, they announced, in response to the government's announcement of rewiring the nation, they said with local supply chain investment estimated to be in excess of $1 billion and more than 3,000 jobs in the construction phase, this investment will deliver stimulus effects, long-term economic social benefits.